Welcome, everyone. I'm Amy Seeley, president of Seeley Test Pros and LEAP, helping students succeed in all kinds of tests from 8th grade to grad school throughout Ohio.
And I'm Mike Bergen, president of Chariot Learning, helping students with test school and life based out of Rochester, New York.
Between the two of us today, we have over 60 years of experience at the highest levels of the test preparation and supplemental education industries.
We both love to talk and learn about the latest issues in education, testing, and admissions. So let's get down to tests and the rest. The fascinating topic we want to explore today is ourselves. Welcome to another episode of EXTEMP with Amy and Mike. How are you, Amy?
I'm doing fabulous today, Mike. But once again, I'm here to start this with, it feels like we just talked.
Well, I mean, not that we haven't been recording podcasts all day,
right?
But you mean we just did EXTEMP? It's true.
February is a short month, and I'm feeling it right now.
February is a short month, but we're also a little ahead of the game this month. We wait until the very last minute in January.
Sometimes we're ahead, sometimes we're behind. That's actually something people don't know, is like how we come about with the episodes. And sometimes there's a bunch in the can, and then sometimes like, whoa, we got a motor to kind of come up with some good topics or some good guests. So
yeah, we have these bursts of activity. Then we put it on the back burner for a while, attend to other aspects of our busy lives.
Right, exactly. So, busy lives. What have you been up to this month, Mike?
Boy, it's funny because I think about what have I been up to? I don't know. I know I've done a lot of tutoring. I've done a lot of curriculum work. I've done a lot of test prep stuff. I've done a ton of writing. I'm working on all kinds of projects, and I just don't know where the time goes.
Yeah. Well, we have lots of classes like in school. So this is like a state testing in Ohio. So there's lots of classes. If you knew, one of my favorite things to do is to make copies and stuff folders. I am proud. No, this is a little known fact. So for us, like the amount of copies and folders, I do have some assistance with this, but there's something about being like, oh my God, we keep making the folders, deliver them here, make the folders.
No, I love it.
So it's
I
a
do
good
that
thing.
too we don't hand out a lot of physical material anymore, except for our boot camps.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm talking about, boot camps.
Like February has been good for boot camps for us. And so they've been full, and I make the folders, and I finally figured out the best way to do it. And I got an awesome printer that just cranks it out so I don't have to deal with anybody else. And you feel kind of in touch with that aspect. It's kind of like a sign, like one of the ways you know that you're serving a lot of students or a lot of families is that you're putting together a lot of packets.
Yeah. And actually, that's probably you're making me think one of the best ways I can sort of judge how many students we serve is just how many folders, because I'll usually buy a bunch of folders in December, and then it's sort of like use. And so
totally,
that's kind of, but there's something very therapeutic for me about stuffing folders. Like I could be really, really busy and then want to be like, oh, I'll do the stuffing of the folder.
Right.
Which is ridiculous, but I like it.
Well, I mean, it's kind of mindless work, right? You can engage. I mean,
Amy likes having mindless
creating
work.
Folders right now.
I could be, but no, but I like mindless work. I do like a little bit of mindless work. Yeah. So sometimes our brains are going too much. And so I think with the folders, that's kind of representative, like when I like to be chill a little bit. Yeah.
Something I've done over the last month that I enjoy is speaking at high schools. And I went out. So every year, I speak mainly
in person now too, by the way. It's really fun to be in person.
To go to the school, right.
Totally.
And for a while, I've been speaking at 2 schools in Syracuse. Now, I mentioned to you this morning that, as of February 16th, 2026, Rochester is the second snowiest city in the country. It's larger cities, not tiny cities, but larger cities. Second only to Syracuse.
Is that? Here's a question. I want to qualify this. Is that as of January 1st, or
No. That's the whole winter.
But what do you mean by winter? Winter starts when? December? What are we talking about? Winter.
The
season of November.
The season begins as soon as snow starts falling in the You think about the school year. They
that's
really
what I mean.
Calculate it as a school year.
We go over. We're technically goes between 25 and 26.
Yeah, anywhere from October
That's what I thought.
April.
Yeah, we've definitely in Cleveland had so much snow that I was telling you, there is this mountain in the back parking lot here that I'm like, it might be April before that thing is melted because it is so large that it's going to take, forever
Yeah.
to just
But
melt.
you're not on the snowy list. Erie, Pennsylvania, like
Not
that's
on
the
the snow.
closest to you. You're not on the
I
bad
don't
list.
make the list. I'm sorry, but it
Yeah.
feels like this has been, at least in Cleveland, a particularly snowy winter for sure.
Absolutely. This is one of the worst that we've had, I think, since 2018. My point, though, is that every year when I drive to Syracuse,
Mhm.
it snows horrendously there and back. And it's a harrowing
You're like,
drive.
here it is again.
Even though I'm on the thruway, you're talking about an
Yeah,
hour and a half or more on the road and it's just snowing and I speak until like 8 o'clock at night and then I got to drive
yeah,
back.
in the
So
snow.
this year is the first time I can remember where it did not really snow on
Oh,
either trip,
ironically, then,
which
right?
was fantastic. Right.
Yeah.
Been getting a ton of snow, but somehow I got lucky with how it lined up. And I don't mind the drive at all
Mhm.
when it doesn't snow, especially
Sure.
because getting to speak to lots of parents and answer questions on the things that we talk about all the time, it's always such a joy.
Yeah. What's funny for me, braving snowstorms is how I remember interviewing for Princeton Review. Because I did. It was that night of like, oh God, do I really want to have to drive in a snowstorm to go interview for this job, this random job?
Right.
Thank
This
God I
random
did.
job. Look at what
Thank God
happened.
I did, right? The world thanks me for braving the elements that particular night.
That takes me back to my first season in test prep when I was working for Kaplan in Boston
Boston, you've told me this story.
in the snowiest winter they had had in a generation. And I was driving all over Boston. And even I was teaching a class in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
It was
Oh wow.
always snowing. And then I would come back and my spot would be gone and somebody would put a
I
chair in the
remember you
spot that I
talking about the
shoveled out.
parking spot.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
I
what a miserable time. I cannot believe I left Boston, but I didn't leave test prep.
yeah. Well, good for all of us, right?
For
Good for
all
all of
of us.
us. Thank you, Mike.
So let's segue away from snow
Oh, we will.
in terms of talking about where you've been recently.
I was going to say, well, and they can't see me, Mike, but Amy is very tan right
She's
now.
golden, radiant tan.
Some have said I'm orange. I don't appreciate that, description. But no, I just got back from Aruba. And
Yeah,
let me tell you, given the snow and this weather we've been talking about, I'm telling you, every year that goes by, man, early February travel to somewhere warm does something for oneself because basically it's killed the month of February. I felt like anticipating going and then going and coming back. I'm like, February's almost gone. And
yeah,
that's turned out. But no, went to Aruba, which I knew nothing about Aruba before I went. And it was beautiful. The weather, it's like 83 degrees and sunny every day.
I love that.
Um,
I love that. It
beaches
was pretty
are
windy, right?
oh,
That's the
arid.
thing about
Okay.
Aruba. It's
So this
windy. You showed it, you sent us a video and you could really see the whitecaps.
Oh my goodness. The amount of wind is amazing, but arid. So cacti, like
Yeah,
there are cactus everywhere.
yeah.
So it's really interesting. I've never seen that. I mean, I've never seen that many in one place, thinking this isn't the desert, but it had that deserty quality, you know. And of course, like I was sending you and our little friends, our Western Adventure Club, Claire and you and Scott, all the bird pics. So
Yeah.
like I saw really cool birds, and least of which were the roosters that
Mm,
were just roaming around.
yeah.
Like I didn't see a cat, but I saw plenty of roosters, but I saw some cool birds. And just got to snorkel,
Yeah,
right?
which is amazing.
Which is I wasn't really afraid, but I will say there were parts of times in snorkeling where I did get a little like kind of panicky a little bit.
I think that's reasonable when you combine an unfamiliar environment
Mhm.
where you have to maintain 360-degree awareness on all three axes, combined with the hazard of potentially drowning. You
Correct.
should stay frosty. You should
No,
be
I mean
feet
there
in.
was a moment where because in my initial snorkeling, I was, maybe a few feet above. So it wasn't like I knew I couldn't drown, but I was going over obviously there was more fish around rocky terrain. So the problem is I got over terrain that was so rocky. It was like, I don't know how much longer I got to like coast. And my initial reaction was to like jump up to stand in the water, but like I can't stand on these
Epic.
rocks.
Yeah.
And, but then, of course, when I went into deeper water, then I was like, I can't stand up because my feet, I'm too deep to hit the ground.
Right.
Um, so it was, and I'm not a strong swimmer.
So like you couldn't just tread water and stick your head up.
I can do that. But then I got this tube in my mouth. So I'm trying to breathe. And like so you're breathing and it was a lot
Yeah.
of stuff.
I feel like I would have been anxious if I was with you.
Well,
Would have
that's why
been,
nobody
I would have
snorkeled
feared for
with me.
your
I snorkeled
safety.
by more myself.
That
But
doesn't
I
sound safe
learned,
either.
but I learned, okay. But I was glad to do it because that's new for me. And I'm nothing if I'm not like, let me try something new. And so I'm excited to be able to do more snorkeling in the future. However, I think I'd like to snorkel with a noodle.
Oh, that's
That's
great.
my latest.
I
If I
think that's
take one
frowned
of those
upon.
water noodles,
Yeah, I
then
know.
I've got
I know
something.
what you meant by
You
a
know
noodle.
exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think the noodle, then you're hovering,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. So that's, gonna next snorkeling adventure will be with a noodle. But I'm glad I did. I was proud of myself that I got myself out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, you
So
should be
it was
proud of
good.
yourself. It's impressive that you did it, especially considering how unprepared you were.
Yes. Well, I mean, I really kind of was unprepared. I just put that thing on. Speaking of new things, right? Trying new things.
Uh-huh.
I think, Mike, you're thinking about trying something new and maybe changing the intro to this
So,
podcast. Tell
so
me
look, it's
more.
such a small thing that, at the beginning of the podcast,
Small thing for
you
who?
introduce yourself, I introduce myself, and then we dive in.
Which we've done since day one, the same way,
But
right?
you like very subtly you shifted from president of Sealy Test Pros to Sealy Test Pros and Leap. Like
I
you
did.
like so I'd like to make a change too. I just feel like I don't want to just do it all at once
You're like
because
nervous.
well, I don't know why I'm nervous about it, right? I feel like just saying
I
president
was lucky because it seemed more
doesn't really
obvious. You
represent my
you do
portfolio.
a lot, you do a ton, you do a ton of things. And so it's entirely understandable wanting to say, like, here, I don't know, like here are all the things I do, because you definitely do you do way more things than I do. Um, but right, so should he change it? Well, I would say yes, but what are you thinking? Do
So
you have an
here's
idea
what
of
I'm thinking, and you
yeah.
tell me. I want you to tell me how this sounds. I say, so you're like, you give your intro, and then I say, and I'm Mike Bergen, president of Chariot Learning and TestBrite, helping learners and teachers alike exceed their educational goals based out of Rochester, New York.
I love it. I
Yeah,
just think
that's it. I just want to maintain like
no,
the
no, no.
beat of where I
Mike,
am. It's really like it's just the sandwich. I'm Mike Bergen, based out of Rochester, New York, and here's what I say in the middle.
okay. I'm totally all about you doing that, but what I want everyone to know is if you can deliver that like with all the words there, more power to you. Because there are times where I have to do what I do, and my mouth, my tongue, blah blah blah, and
Uh-huh.
so you got a lot of words to say there. You got to
Yeah, I
practice.
mean, we practice this. I had the hardest time with the latest issues in education, testing, and admissions. It took like 200,
And now
maybe
you're a
300 times
master.
before I got comfortable with it.
You've done it over 700 times now, right?
Right. So this
Like,
is
how many times you have to do something before you become good? 10,000. We're not anywhere near
10,000.
there.
Well, I mean, also the practice times, the
We can
times we
master
cut.
something sooner, but
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think no,
I think that's
absolutely.
the way I want to go. Would it be weird if I included in the newsletter, I'll include the language and I'll put in a poll and people can say,
They can vote on
you
it.
shouldn't change anything. You should change using that language. You should change using different language. And then you'd have to put the
You
language
should
that you
speak
want
in
me
a
to
different
change in the
language when you
comments.
say it.
Yeah. If you want me to say something different, you got
Bienvenidos.
to bienvenidos. Welcome, my friends.
Right. Actually, it would be kind of funny to change it up. Like as a oh, I have an idea.
Oh, do you?
I'm going to tell
Okay.
you later. I got an
Okay. Hold on
idea.
to
I
that
got a
idea.
funny idea, Mike.
We'll shoot
Yeah.
it down in the next extemp.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll decide if we're in time, but it might be worthy of being a surprise, but I have an idea.
Really?
So yeah, about intros and
I
whatnot.
love that. All right. So now, speaking of surprises, this is kind of a wild card or a grab bag. Love is in the air. It's the end of Valentine's Day weekend. We're extending it one
Will you
additional
be my
day
Valentine?
because it's a 3-day weekend, right? And just randomly, three things. Let's share three things that we love, but we can't talk about people,
Okay, no
right?
people.
Love lots of people.
We do.
and we can't talk about anything related to work.
Yeah. Well, what I'm excited about with this conversation is because obviously I came up with three things,
Yeah,
you too, whether our heads were like in two totally different places with what we talk about,
probably
right?
not.
Probably not. I mean, like, because I have three things,
Yeah.
one of which is not going to surprise anybody, but whatever.
Why don't you throw out the one that doesn't surprise anybody?
Okay, the first one says Amy loves travel.
Oh,
It's
come
her
on. No, 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 no,
favorite
no, no.
thing.
Forget it. Stop.
I
No. No. Sorry. We know you love travel. We talk about travel every month.
I know.
That's
It's
you have to come
okay.
up with something else.
Okay,
I'll give you a minute to think. I'll tell you something that I love.
okay, good. Now I get to hear what you say. All right.
I absolutely love cereal with milk. My day is not complete if I don't have a bowl of cereal.
Okay, I got to know what kind of cereal,
Well,
Mike.
so all my life I've eaten cereal, but it's changed, right? My mom loved sugary cereals.
Oh,
So we had the Fruity Pebbles and the Cocoa Pebbles, and like I had years where Captain Crunch peanut butter was my favorite meal of the day. And now now I've like gotten healthier and healthier. So now it's like Raisin Bran and grape nuts with banana.
you're showing your age.
Yeah, I know. It's totally my age because I feel the same satisfaction of with that I used to have for the Captain Crunch.
I just want to see you eat a bowl of tricks.
A bowl of tricks. Too sugary now. I couldn't even
I
do it.
know, I know.
But if
Yeah.
I add fruit during peach season, when I get to put fresh
Um,
peaches into my cereal,
um,
like it's dessert for me. I look forward to that all day long.
yeah.
I love that.
Well, so now I'm going to follow your food one. So I will give a food one that I had on my list, which is I love peanut butter and chocolate.
Oh yeah.
I like, and here's obviously that means I like a Reese peanut butter cup.
Hmm.
However, Amy will make this up. So, like a lot of times after Christmas, there's like a lot of chocolate floating around, like plain chocolate, whatever. And by the way, I prefer my peanut butter and chocolate with milk. While I love dark chocolate, dark is a
Hmm.
huge favorite of mine, like dark chocolate caramels. But when it comes to peanut butter, I want it with milk chocolate.
Yeah, I
But the
agree. I
thing
think that milk chocolate and peanut butter go better
But
together.
with my kids, I mean, I'm horrible. After Christmas, if there's any sort of plain chocolate, I love going over to the jar of Jif and breaking off chunks of chocolate with a knife. Actually, I'll just take that. If I can get my hand into the jar, I'll just kind of like dip it. Sometimes I'm real civilized and I'll take a knife and like, smear it on there. This is embarrassing to say, but there are probably years post Christmas and post Easter where Amy gains like 5 to 10 pounds because the peanut butter chocolate addiction is like, it's just so
I
delicious.
mean, you're in the home of the Buckeye.
And
You're
you
in the Buckeye
know,
State, and
I
they are
love
so good.
sharing
Such a
Buckeyes with my
perfect
friends,
combination
right?
of. And have you ever had one of those peanut butter cups that's not like a Reese's peanut butter cup, but a fancy one from a bakery or a coffee place where they're large and it's like it's almost a peanut butter mousse inside.
Yeah, I'm not okay. All right. I don't really like it to be that smooth. I like the kind of heavier, chunky. Not.
The
I don't like
chalky
with
kind?
nuts. No, but you know how like a Reese peanut butter egg for Easter
Sure.
has a. It feels like a mealier type of peanut butter. I do like that a lot, but
Hmm.
at the same time, I'm still spreading my Jif all over
I'm
pieces
still
of chocolate.
spreading my
There was
Jif.
one year where Jack got this 10-pound Hershey bar, like from the Hershey store in Chicago, that we brought home. And I'd hack away piece after piece and dip it in
Yeah.
chocolate.
That's great. Now,
Yeah.
listen, I don't mean to sound judgmental, but I'm not down with Jif. I'm not down with peanut butter margarine. I like actual peanut butter.
I knew you were going to say you were probably a purist about like,
I,
you probably go to the grocery store and make them grind the
I
peanuts
don't
right
do
in front
that.
of
I
you
don't do that, but I do get the organic. It's
with the
just got to be
oil.
nuts. It's just right with the oil on the
I
top.
can't. And how where you have to like try to mix. I grew up with that. So
Oh, I
I'm
love
like,
that.
no, I don't do that. Yeah. Although I will say that peanut butter though, with the kind of grainier I'm talking
Yeah,
about, that
right.
is delish. Yeah,
That
for
is
sure.
delish.
All right, now number two. What's
Okay.
number
Number
two?
two, I love my emerging understanding of putting together a backyard habitat. I'm like
Oh, with your
learning
garden
about
and your
like I've got this
plantings.
this multi-year planting project and I put in my order. You have to order your plants from the conservation department in the county conservation league early in advance. Like I had to order months ago to pick them up in April. I have a bunch of trees that I'm picking up in April
It's
and I'm
awesome.
already excited about it. I'm like, I'm looking forward to getting them. I'm looking forward to planting them. I'm looking forward to when all the snow is gone, getting back to it. And it's not like most people think if you like landscaping, you like mowing your grass really short and trimming your hedges into weird shapes. No, I want to cultivate a working wild in my little patch of suburbia.
That's my another reminder of why I'm going to come to Rochester this summer because now I also will get to see
It's
all
really
of the
not far
labor in your
along enough
backyard.
yet, but I mean, I'll show you. But it's like it's going to take years for everything to grow in the way it needs to.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to counter that with something that I didn't have on my original list, but now that you made me take off travel, I'm going to put this
Yeah.
on there because it does jibe with what you're talking about in a totally different way. And that is Amy loves a pool. Amy
Oh yeah.
loves
Yeah.
sitting by the pool, just, and here's the thing of late, since I no longer have a house with a yard and whatnot, I don't have gardening, I don't have yard work. So my favorite thing in the summer now is to be laying by my pool and hearing of friends like yourself talking about the work of the
Right.
yard,
The laying around
the
feels better
oh
when other
oh
people are
it's
working. Yeah,
it's like here I
totally.
am. I don't have to do that. And so, but I do like a good pool. I love floating in a pool. I love having a nice drink by the pool. I like reading by the pool, listening to music by the pool. But it's what I do when you're
Yeah,
doing that thing you're just talking about. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
totally get it. Totally
Yeah.
get it. And I love the idea of that. I
Yeah.
do. I just get bored laying by a pool.
I can
I used to
enjoy
love
that.
it. I used to love to sit and read by a
I
pool
never
and
did it. I really I
lost it.
was not a pool person.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a later in life thing I've sort of taken on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is great.
Some of us, Mike, we have to do the hard work.
The hard work. Got to hold down that Chase
Take one
Lounge.
for the team. Got to keep that tan up somehow, Mike.
That's right.
All right, I'm going to give my third.
Okay.
So this sounds silly and goofy, and I do love books. Okay, I love books, but I like the buying of the books. How about
You
that?
just like buying books.
I love. I have stacks. Like if you saw around me,
Uh-huh.
I have stacks and stacks of books. It's like one of my favorite things to to purchase them and have them come. And then, but man, if of late the reading of them is like the real challenge, Mike.
Yeah.
But I do, like I like obviously with I like ideas, I like learning new things. Most especially it's nonfiction. I will say, like I really do like my nonfiction better. Um, but I do. I love books. I've always loved books.
It's so funny because my third thing is books too.
Ah.
But opposite, I love not buying books.
Oh, are
I
you like a Kindle,
started
like a
I
like
started using my libraries,
or audio?
especially because, I made friends with lots of librarians because I used to offer tests at
Sure.
the library. So, I go in and I know the librarians anyway, but I've grown to love reading the book and letting it go and not having it around anymore. And kind of like part of a larger declutter movement in my household is the trying to avoid bringing books in.
Yeah.
But while I love libraries and I love getting books from libraries,
Mm-hmm.
what I love to read, I read all kinds of things, but mostly I read science fiction and I love reading science fiction. I feel like science fiction is the most honest way to talk about the present. It's the most honest way for anyone to talk about the what's going to happen, what the implications of potential changes in society are. It's a way to look at previous events, taking some of the charge out so you can look at them
Yeah.
honestly. So it's something that has always been the case. And if you go back to old science fiction, because I read current stuff, like anything by Neil Stevenson, I love.
What's the
But
old
I
stuff you're
also
referring to?
will, pardon?
What's the old stuff you're referring to?
So like some of the old stuff is I've gone back and I've read some like Ursula Le Guin, Left Hand of Darkness, or I just read Childhood's End, which was a classic that I read back in in grade school, one of my teachers assigned it to me because he knew that I could handle
Oh,
it.
that you would like,
And,
yeah.
but like, and I didn't remember it at all. But
Oh,
like, and it was written decades before I was a kid. So you can read science fiction from the 40s, from the 50s, and it still has something to say about the present or the future.
that's
It's
interesting.
really incredible. And I'm always impressed when I find something good like that.
You mean like the themes of it are
Themes.
seem they're like they're universal and they almost like they transcend time.
Yeah, so like I recently read something called A People's Future of the United States or something like so there's that classic Howard Zinn, I think is
Zins,
his
like
name,
people's
with
US
the
history or whatever.
People's History of the United
The
States.
United
So this
States,
was
right?
kind of looking forward. It was very dark.
Yeah.
And it was, none of it was calling anyone out by name or like any of the themes, but you could see in different people their fears of, what if society progressed along this intolerant path,
Sure.
or what if society progressed, went further down this totalitarian road, or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. And then it's the thought experiment.
Right.
What does it feel like? Because it's not just to say this is what would happen. You create people who live in that environment and
Mm-hmm.
you feel it because there are people who are living it.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd never read sci-fi.
Yeah, no, I,
It's the
I
one
get
thing I
it. I
don't.
love it. I just
No, a lot of
satisfies
people
all
do
my
though.
itches for like wanting to know a little more science because some of the sci-fi
Sure.
is you're really getting an education.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I like Neil Stephenson, who writes a ton of really great books. And every book that he writes, he's like a near futurist. So the things that he
Mm-hmm.
comes up with aren't necessarily that far
Well, you're
off.
making me think that a lot of sci-fi is really about the human condition. And
It
but it's
is.
like kind of like but in the future, in the past, or in ways in which you can change things, manipulate things, or know things, maybe. That's an interesting.
To a
Yeah.
certain extent, I feel like, right, they're more symbolic, more real because they're creating they're creating an artificial world in which to
Hmm.
discuss things. So you're not bogged down by anything in the real world.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of mine's nonfiction. Most of mine's I like history things. I like personal things, profiles, biographies, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just need to read more of them to catch up.
Yeah, I went through a phase for a long time where I wasn't doing much reading.
Yeah.
And I've finally gotten back to reading and I feel satisfied with it.
I'm really jealous of the people who put out there like in January, like their book list. Like I read 52 books. I'm like, oh my God. Actually, I wish I spent more time in the car because back in the day, I did a lot of audiobooks and really I was able to do more books that way. And now I spend like no time in the car. So
Yeah.
it's like that stealing that time, I I don't get it like that. But for me, the problem with nonfiction, especially if it's like business or self-help, I do like the actual book because I do like
Yeah.
highlighting and
Yeah.
like being able to come back to it.
Totally.
Fiction, I don't need to do. I could do audiobooks, fiction, but yeah.
I get that.
All right, now the most interesting part of the episode, Mike, of course, is what do you got going on next month? What's
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 coming up?
March holding
Well,
up for you?
yeah, I mean, I've got some great training sessions coming up. I've got plenty of classes. I'm teaching some of these boot camps myself because the rest of my team is booked up. And so I'll be teaching a lot of classes over the next couple of
Classes are fun.
weeks.
Classes like you were talking about presenting to families
Yeah.
in person. I There's nothing better than a group of kids that are like actually interested or engaged. I love it's a little bit of theater for me, the
Yeah.
classes when I can be in front of a group of kids. I do like that. Yeah.
Totally. And then, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to keep track of all the things that are happening. I keep feeling like I have a trip coming up in March, and I think it's because a friend wants me to go on a trip in March,
Oh,
and I'm trying to get my head around how I could do it because I have so much
uh,
going on.
so you've not
So
committed to this
I
yet.
haven't committed to it, and I feel like I'm not going to commit just because as much as I want to go birding in the Dominican Republic in March, I just don't know if I can indulge myself in that.
Well, Mike, some of us are totally fine with
We're
indulging.
catching you in your eat, pray, love phase.
Um, so right now is just a period of like, there's travel and then there's what happens in between travel, right? That's called some people's lives.
All right,
Um,
so tell
so,
us what's happening
so,
and what's your next trip?
so where is Amy going? So I am going to Cancun,
Yeah,
which makes no sense because I just went to Aruba. It
and now
really
you're an
to go
island
from
hopper.
I mean, to go from one warm tropical place to another is so not like me because I really do like my trips where I get to like, do things, see things, learn things. But I'm taking my oldest daughter, Haley. So it's
It's
a
so awesome.
mom and daughter trip to Cancun.
Haley,
Um,
who has appeared on the podcast
she has been on
before.
the
Haley, who's
podcast, which
well
by the way,
known to
I'd
many
love to
of
have
our
her come
colleagues
back.
in test prep.
Now,
Yeah,
but both of us, right? We know with test prep, there's a little lull mid-March, which is different. It didn't used to be like that, but now I'm taking advantage of this little lull with my daughter who does test prep
yeah.
in mid-March to spend some quality mom and daughter time. So, and of course, now that I snorkel, I got the snorkel pack already in the bag, Mike. So
Now that I
Amy's gonna.
snorkel.
I'm actually trying to think about how I can pack that noodle in my suitcase so I come to Cancun
They'll
with a
have a
noodle
noodle
in
for you,
tow
or you can buy one down there and then donate it.
for $1. I don't know, pesos. What is it down
Yeah,
there? But no, so I can't wait to come back and share about Amy's Mexican adventures.
that's exciting. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing about it.
More birds, Mike. More birds.
More birds. That's right. I look
Mhm.
forward to the pictures.
No magpies.
All right, Amy. Obviously, we could talk about ourselves all day. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you so much.
It is always a pleasure, Mike.
The pleasure, as always, is mine.
Awesome. We hope you enjoyed this discussion as much as we did. Be sure to join us for another fascinating topic and guest on the next test and the rest.
Did you enjoy this episode as much as we did? Find expanded links and more for this and all of our episodes at our show page at testsandtherest.com. While you're there, be sure to explore everything the larger TestBright site has to offer, including real, expert, unbiased answers to the toughest admissions testing questions. Of course, we'd love for you to rate, review, and subscribe to Test and the Rest on your favorite podcast platform. If there's a topic or guest you'd like us to feature, just let us know and spread the word.